that no matter what age you are, 30 and above,
40,
young,
50,
doesn't matter like how old you are, it's never too late to follow that dream or desire or purpose you've always wanted to do. And I just want to emphasize that because I know it's something I struggled with for so long, and I know like a lot of people feel, like I say, when they get to a certain age that it's too late, but it's never too late.
Yeah.
And all it comes down to is
The thing that inspired me the most, which was to have courage and to take a risk and take that leap of faith of your dreams, even through your fears and doubts, the message of just be you and do what you love, put your heart in it with no expectations other than doing your best, and you attract the right people. And I thought, okay, God specifically put a specific, unique gift in your soul.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that you desire to bring to the world. And people can be negative about it and etc. But it's written in your heart because God put it there.
All right. Hi, babe.
Hello, my darling.
We are here again.
We are
on a roll. All right. Well, today we're going to be talking about
Sing the movie.
Yes. So let's start off with sharing the synopsis.
Go for it, babe.
And we should say, if anyone hasn't seen this film, to go and watch it because we're going to be giving away a lot of spoilers. So here we go. Dapper Koala Buster Moon presides over a once grand theatre that has fallen on hard times. An eternal optimist and a bit of a scoundrel, he loves his theatre above all and will do anything to preserve it. Facing the crumbling of life's ambition, he takes one final chance to restore his fading jewel to its former glory by producing the world's greatest singing competition. 5 contestants emerge: a mouse, a timid elephant, a pig, a gorilla, and a punk rock porcupine. So, that is the film that we're going to be talking about today. And the main whisper that we want to focus on in this film is the pursuit of following your dreams, that it's never too late to follow your dreams.
Dreams do come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. Da, 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 da.
It's actually dreams can come true.
Well, that's even better.
Cool, babe. Gosh, I feel like my voice is so deep today that I feel like, everyone, I am a she, her. It's just struggling with a bit of a flu right now. All right, so basically, yes, the main whisper that we want to focus on in this film is about following your dreams and how it's never too late to follow your dreams. However, this movie is based on an ensemble cast, so we're going to start off by giving you a bit of a background on the characters and where they are starting from in their life. We are then going to go over the main whispers in this film related to the journey, character arc, and the lessons that each of the characters have to learn.
Drop the mic, baby.
Cool. So we're going to introduce the characters first.
Yes.
It's important for people to know who they are.
But a very brief thing, not really like their arc or anything like that.
Yeah. So did you want to do that?
Sure.
All right.
So Buster is the koala, the main character, really. He's the central character. And he fell in love with theatre as a child, and his dad bought him that same theatre by washing cars for over 30 years. Okay?
That's commitment.
That's commitment. That's a father really desiring to help his child with his desire of theatre, like 101.
And we can question if that is really loving or not. Like, it's not really teaching the child self-responsibility, but that's just a side note.
But
Like,
that's why he's also a scoundrel and he is avoiding responsibility throughout the movie,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
think about
exactly.
it.
But we'll
So,
talk about that
yeah,
later on. We're just giving a
continue.
brief overview, babe.
Sorry. Okay,
Nah,
okay.
just kidding.
Next one. Johnny the gorilla,
Yep.
and he is the son of bank robbers.
Mhm.
I can elaborate a little bit more, but I reckon like we'll keep it simple because otherwise I can go on and
Yeah,
on.
just keep it
All right,
simple.
keep it simple, stupid. Okay, and then we got the porcupine, Ash. She's in a rock duo band with her
Mhm.
boyfriend. Then we've got the elephant. Her name is Meena.
Mhm.
And she belongs to a family who sees her gift in singing. Then we have Mike the mouse,
Yep.
who is an arrogant jazz musician. I wonder why they put a jazz musician as arrogant. Okay, continue. Now,
Are you
who
being
does
judgmental?
No, I think it's just the
Yeah,
like it,
it's
it tends to be that stereotype that a jazz musician is
arrogant.
arrogant
Yeah, there
and
is that
there's
stereotype.
that stereotype. Yeah,
And I have met some jazz musicians who are actually quite arrogant.
same.
All right, so now that we've introduced the characters, we're going to go straight into what the key whispers and messages of the film are.
Sure.
So, number one, of course, the overarching whisper in this film is about discovering your dreams and passions and really having the courage to follow them.
Hmm.
So, we've got Buster Moon as a child who discovers his love for theatre when he goes to see a show. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because often, we've heard Jesus and Mary say how, we can often look to our childhood to discover what we loved because it's often
To rediscover
to
what we love.
rediscover what we loved in terms of our passions because it's often in our childhood when we are more closer to our real self that we are drawn to certain things that we love and that we find enjoyment in.
And also, we're much more open to exploring. And so through exploration, do we discover what we love?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
and we are also more open to experimenting, and we are definitely more open to, like you say, yeah, just exploring and giving things a go. And like there's no real kind of like, in the sense like when you get into adult life, there's all these like limitations that you have, but when you're a child, you're just like, "Yeah, I'll give that a go. I'll give that a go. Oh
Oh,
my gosh, that's
totally.
amazing." You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like you're more, I don't know, you just have more feeling, I suppose, towards certain things.
I think that's totally right because I can totally relate to that. You
Mm.
know, like I tried everything, anything that there was like, all right, there's an opening to this. I was like, I'm in. I'm trying it. I'm trying that. I'm trying this. Like talent show, I'm in. Choir, I'm in. I audition, like there was nothing like I didn't even think of it like it's an audition. You just go in, you try out, and you come out, and
Yeah.
you get it or you don't. And pretty much everything I've ever tried, I've got it in.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah,
Um,
100%. So yeah, I guess like we have Buster Moon as the child and his love for theater in childhood, where he discovers that like, wow, this is something that I really love. And then you have all the characters as well who have some kind of passion for performance, music, singing, dancing. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
they all have this like love and desire for singing.
yeah,
Really, I mean that's what the
yeah.
movie's called. It's called Sing.
Sing.
Um, so we have these characters who have discovered somewhat their passion for singing. However, they do have, all of these kind of like blocks to it, which we'll go into soon. But really, it's through the law of attraction that responds to this desire in them to sing and brings them an opportunity to
Mm.
help them to discover and explore it further. And that is the moment where
Can I say
Yeah,
it?
share it.
I love that moment because I thought, oh, that's so interesting, like,
Yeah.
so, basically we have the, um, Buster is getting the lady to do the posters and stuff like that,
For
and
the singing
for the
competition.
singing competition, and she's lost her eye, you know, and she's accidentally like the
The
eyes
eye
bounced.
pops out.
Yeah, and it's bounced onto the zeros to create like extra like 2 or 3 zeros onto
Yeah, because
the
the prize was
poster.
going to be $1,000.
$1,000. It ends up being $100,000,
$1,000.
and then she
Because
doesn't see that. She presses the the enter button after she recovers her eye,
yeah,
and then as she's grabbed all of them
all
from the
the
printer,
yeah
she turns and the fan just pushes all of the
blows
flyers, it blows all the flyers out
out
the
the
window,
window.
and it just goes flying everywhere. And he's like, "That's one way to spread the word,"
I
you
love
know,
that.
and
That
I
was
just
so
love that because I
funny.
was like, "What a like!" I love that law of attraction of like, okay, now it's just out in the world. It's just out in the world. There's no
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna put it in a strategic spot, or I'm going to,
Yeah,
like
it's just like
just.
God's wind just blew it out the
That's
window
right.
and it's yeah,
And then I
landing in front of all the right people who have this desire.
totally, but also when it hits like the wrong person,
Mm.
it's the scene where it's the mouse, and so it hits this other, I don't know if it was a giraffe or a rhino or something, hits some other animal, and it looks at it and just throws it on the ground, and that's the
Yeah.
opportunity that the mouse sees it. Like, do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? $100,000. Oh, like, and
Yeah.
it's like, so the rock, even though it can come to you, if it's not your desire, you can throw it away. You know what I mean? It's not,
Yeah,
just
disregard it.
disregard it. And
Yeah.
then the person that it is the desire, they can see it and it's like, whoa, like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
So it ends up going to the people
the
who
right person.
really
Yeah.
desire it. We should give a bit of background though, like in terms of Buster, who's basically been given this theater by his dad. As we mentioned in the synopsis, it's, fallen on hard times. He can't really, pay his bills and stuff like that. So he comes up with this grand idea to run a singing competition
That's right.
to, I guess, um, draw people to the theater again.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes. And the interesting part about all that is also like, meanwhile, so he's inherited this theater in a way because his dad gifted him this theater.
yeah.
And so now he hasn't learnt responsibility at all,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So there he is. He's like, excuse me, but you have blah 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 from the bank on the phone. I'll tell her I'm out for lunch. I'll talk to her tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, the workers are there trying to get their payment, and he's like, "Oh shit, I don't have the money for that. Like, I'm gonna sneak up from the back and go up the like attic kind of thing, and then
And get out the
get out the
window
window,
and go to avoid seeing
Yeah,
them and facing the music,
yeah,
so to speak.
yep, totally. So he's avoiding
Yeah.
responsibility because he's like, I just gotta make my dream happen,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
doesn't matter about ethics. I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and so he's got to learn, you know,
Yeah.
that he's got to learn, facing the truth, being responsible for his actions and repercussions,
You're
consequences.
giving away the character arc.
Ah, okay, sorry.
Like, we're just starting at the beginning, babe.
I sorry, I get on a roll.
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Because we'll get into all of
That's
that.
okay.
We're just at the moment of like the big overarching whisper, which is discovering your dreams and passion. Because like this movie, um, just does this so well to share some really important like whispers that, yeah, like I think we can all learn from, because I feel like a lot of people are just not living their purpose or their passions, and no matter what it is, like, and I think there's just so much we can learn from even self-discovery, finding your real self and personality through your passions, which is what a lot of these characters go through and end up doing, is really connecting to, I guess, their real self in a way through their passions when, you know, after they've gone through quite a bit of growth or learning. And this is, I believe, what God wants us to discover
Mm-hmm.
is that, and it's a big truth actually, God wants us to learn that through your passions, you can discover your real you, you know?
Mm.
It's a part of you discovering who you are, what your unique soul is, your unique gifts, and
What you can offer the
what you
world
can offer the world.
uniquely that only you can offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a big whisper in this. It's all about, like discovering who you are through the pursuit of your passions and giving things a go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I feel like also this, like, sharing that part where, because they all happen to know secretly deep down their passion. There's just a lot of things that are holding them back from
Mm.
trying,
Yeah,
which
definitely.
is the next point that we're going to
Yeah,
like talk
definitely.
about. But I think but in reality, there's two things. There's the people that kind of know what they love. Like
Mm.
we knew what we love,
Mm.
in to an extent. I think I'm starting to discover a lot about singing and music for my end because
Mm.
of the blocks and stigma in my family about music. But a lot of people, actually, it would have been awesome to see a character who doesn't know their passion in here of singing and they discover it, because all of them start with the basis of knowing what they love.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it would have been awesome to have one character that doesn't actually know that they love that, you know?
Mm.
Possibly would have been too hard because their ensemble was already so big.
Yeah,
And they
exactly.
probably would have explored it in their drafts, I would assume,
Mm.
but it probably was too much of an arc for that one character to be able to accomplish by the end.
Mm.
But I think we should also like talk about that in terms of discovering your passions. Like if you're a person who recollects and goes back to their childhood and just really doesn't remember what they enjoyed doing, because of maybe they had harsh restrictions and so forth, or a very tough childhood where they didn't have fun. They were like had to be responsible from a very young age because,
Mm.
you have some people that, in a way become parents at 7 because they're looking after younger siblings or whatever, and they don't get to have
Mm.
that fun or explore and stuff like that. And I think like for them, it's like you can only encourage them to start to explore now. Go put yourself into different things so you can see what you do love, you
Mm.
know? I think a lot of people, like, I've had a lot of people come up to me and they'll say, like, oh, that's so cool that you're doing, film stuff and this and that. But, like, I don't know what I like. And
Mm.
I'd say to them, like, you know, what did you love doing as a kid? And they go, I don't know. Like,
Mm.
I don't know, And it's like, okay, well then just start exploring your creativity, put yourself in art drawings and um, music class or theater
Mm.
or singing lessons and just see what starts to resonate for you, because I think
Yeah.
that's really important to do, to help
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Because, like, even for people who have hit their 30s and beyond, who are still perhaps stuck in a 9 to 5 that they're not passionate about, and then just waking up going to a job that they feel that they have to go to because it's what's going to pay the bills.
Mm,
You know, for me, I didn't start really pursuing my purpose and passion until I was in my early 30s.
mm,
And for those people who may be in a similar situation, it's important to know that it's never too late to follow your dreams and to start, you know. And often people think when they get into that age bracket that it's too late, I'm too old, I can't do it. How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And there's all these like limiting beliefs.
And this is why this is so great, because we have the mother of 25 kids. We have the, Rosita. We have, the mouse who's probably trying to do this for decades because he seems quite
Yeah.
mature. Um, You
We
have
have a wide
Buster,
range of,
a
like,
wide range
ages
of ages,
in the cast
which
for
is great.
sure. Like, actually, like, the thing with starting your passion in your early 30s or beyond is that, well, really at any age, the moment you start expressing a desire or having a desire for something, opportunities also come your way, which was in a way what happened to them. They all
Yes.
had this desire for singing and an
Yes.
opportunity came their way. And I found that the moment I started expressing my desire for singing again and music after I decided to get sober, um, the more I engaged my passion, the more I engaged my singing, started practicing every day, the more like opportunities started to come to me. Get an invitation to go and sing, backup vocals for Archie Roach. Just little opportunities like that as I started going do, performances again. I then got invited to go back and teach at my old music school that I studied at, like, when I first learned music. And these were all opportunities that kind of came to me. So, like, yeah, the more you express your desire for something, the more you engage that desire and take action on it, the more like opportunities will come to you and find you. You don't kind of need to really go out and chase them, which is
Mhm.
what I loved what they illustrated in this is that
Yeah.
they really nailed that law of attraction moment where, like, you know, that opportunity came to them. What was the last point that I made? Do you have anything that you want to say about self discovery?
Well, because I already said about, like, how, like, with self-discovery, you've got to, um if you don't remember as a child, like, what you love to do, then you can go and explore yourself by going into courses, going to classes, whether it's art, music, theater, acting, directing, filmmaking, um, chess games, like whatever kind of things that you
Mm,
really like want to just explore to see, do you like it? Do you enjoy it? Do you want to learn more about it? Do you
mm,
like mathematics and engineering? Do you like creating things, making things, woodwork, whatever it is? And just go and do it on the side, whether it's a course at night for an hour, like once a
yeah.
week, or whether it's like just sitting down and buying yourself a tablet and just drawing every night for an hour or every second night for an hour, to just start exploring, you know, do I enjoy drawing and what can I learn, and is it tutorials or online lessons or whatever that I could learn from, and
Mm,
keep building it, because you got to keep discovering. And maybe you don't like it and you go, I don't like that, actually I'm going to try something different, you know and then obviously, like, you might like it and then you find something hard and then you want to just quit, but that's different to not liking it. Do you know what I mean?
mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And I think, like, the important thing to note is that God created us to have many passions, many desires. So it's not a mystery or puzzle that we need to necessarily, like, resolve.
Yeah.
It really is as simple as just try a whole bunch of things and see which ones you like, see which ones you don't, because you're allowed to have any desire in the world,
Mm.
you know? Like, as long as it's in harmony with love, like, you can, you know what I mean? Like, God hasn't set in stone what a specific thing that we need to be doing with our lives. God has said, you've got free will. I've given you the ability to develop desires and gifts and talents, and you're allowed to have any one of them.
Mm.
Remember what you told me? You were telling me this just yesterday. You were like, I just want to be free. What did God say?
Yes. Oh, shall I share that story?
Yeah, just quickly. Just
Okay.
what did.
Yeah, so, like, I expressed the desire of going, I just want to be free,
And do what I
and
want.
just do whatever I want, like, and that moment I could feel God straight away just hit me in the heart, like, and it was like showing me, like, you are free, just go out, do whatever you want. The world is completely your oyster. It
Yeah.
was created for free for you to discover and explore and have fun and do whatever you want to do. You know, obviously, he would love us to do it in harmony with love.
Yeah.
And he's got laws there,
To correct us when
to
we
correct
don't.
us when we don't. But it's there,
Yeah.
you
But
know.
I just love that, like, in that moment, God was like, go.
It's there.
Go, my
And
child.
suddenly, like, the whole world felt so big and I felt so tiny, and it was just like, and
Yeah,
I
and
was
you
like,
were just like,
this is scary. Close the door.
yeah, and you were just like, oh my gosh, what? I can do whatever I want?
Yeah, that's insane when you think about
No,
it.
thank you.
That overwhelmed me completely. That overwhelmed me completely.
Yeah.
To really think, like, really put it in your heart that you can do anything,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like no one says that. Like, people say that to you. You can do anything in the world, like
But
you
when
can
God
make it.
says it's
But
to
when
you.
when you hear it from the person who's created you, like,
Yeah.
and it hits your heart,
Yeah.
it's not just words. It's not just like, it's like it's entering in your soul
As an
of like
emotion.
an emotion of like truth, like complete truth. And you're like, I don't believe this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't believe. Yeah, it's exactly what happens. Like, I don't believe that I can go out and do whatever I want. It brings up your, like,
It makes you realize,
limiting
like,
beliefs.
it makes you realize that it's not that you're not free. It's not that, like, you can't do what you want. It's you don't believe you can. And so that's the belief that you need to fix, so that you can actually see the truth is you can do what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so that definitely brings us to our whisper number 2, our key whisper, which is removing blocks to achieving your dreams, to living in your truth, to your unique soul and personality, which is, what we were just touching on then. It's God has made it possible for us to go out and do whatever we desire, but it's often our limiting beliefs and all of these blocks and, like, just obstacles that get in the way of us being able to live in truth to our true personality and nature that God gave us. And that is basically demonstrated, like, in so many different ways in this film. Like, basically, everyone started their journey from a place of chaos in this film.
Yes.
So that also taught me that, like, it also demonstrates that, like, you're not going to be in this perfect place when you start out in following your passions. And it's going to take you having to just take action, make that first step.
I got to wait until like I have the right amount of money so I can have that cushion before I start. No, I got to wait until this happens.
I have this
and then
camera. We need a 3-camera setup, babe, before we can do our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
You know?
And I was like, no, we're just gonna try and start and move forward. And then as we develop and we save and whatever, we get the thing, we can get to the next camera.
Or it's like, oh, I can't do that. Like, I don't even know how to do that thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
Well, you're never gonna know how to do it unless you start. Like, there's just so many different things which we're gonna get into more, like, in terms of the characters and what they specifically, like, what their specific obstacles were.
So but first thing that we're going to mention is basically Steve Harvey's, like, motto, and that is just jump.
Yeah.
Just jump. And so many people were like, we're going to jump, but I got to make sure that the parachute opens, like, and he's like, the parachute will not open the first time you jump.
It's not going to open.
Second, or the like,
you're going to get scratched up, and you're going to get, some, like, you're going to get a bit beat up on the first jump, but you're just going to make that jump.
Yep. And you're going to try again and try again.
And you're going to just keep, like refining it as you go. And I think, yeah, like that is so true. Like in terms of God's truth, in the sense that God knows you're not going to start out pursuing your passions in a perfect place at all. You're going to start out probably in a lot of addictions. Does that mean you shouldn't start? No. But all that means is that if you do start in that way, God's going to reflect back to you through the laws where you're out of harmony with love. And then that's your cue to do it again, but in a more loving way, and to keep refining it and purifying your desires with your passions, because like these characters, they started out like in a place of chaos. It was really a struggle and hustle for them to make their dreams come true. And they were often, like Buster was, trying to make ends meet with no money, like he was like really struggling to keep his theater afloat with no money. So there's all these obstacles that these characters were facing.
And shall we talk on some of those obstacles?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Let's
so
do
for
it.
example, you said about not making ends meet and having no money.
Mm.
Right. So Buster the koala has no money, is still trying to pursue his dream. He's really hustling, right? What is he doing that's unloving at the beginning? He's being unethical. He's
not being responsible.
Not being responsible
with his bills. He's not paying them. He's like, oh, I'll get to them.
Yep. Not paying his workers, not paying the bank, not paying his electricity bills, avoiding everyone that he has to deal with. Because he's like, it's okay, I'll deal with them when I make money in my next show. Like,
Yeah,
and it's like, no, how about you take responsibility, see if you can get an extension, do something so that you can, make it organized, so then everyone is not chasing you and you can focus fully on making it happen.
Yeah,
do you know what I
mean? Yeah.
What else did we write there?
So then we have Mike, the snobby jazz player. He's definitely somebody who starts out from a place of greed with a focus on money. He has little man syndrome. He's quite arrogant, a bit of a bully, and he's quite negative. And he's a bit of a con artist. So he, cons his way through life, trying to cheat, through gambling, like, trying to. Didn't he demand some kind of money from his busking when he was busking on the streets or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, like
he's like, a guy put a coin in when he was playing the saxophone.
Yeah.
And he's like, you got more money than that. And then he's like, that's all I got. Like, and then he literally like basically goes through his pockets and whatever, finds the pile of cash folded, and the guy goes, oh, I forgot about that and stuff. He's like, yeah, well, I'm from Juilliard or something, and like some
snatches
high class,
the money or
he's
something.
like, my performance is like the highest of the highest, and you need to pay me what I'm worth,
Yeah. So he
and-
just purely like does his, I wouldn't say purely, but he does his passions just for the money and recognition and stuff like that.
fame. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is artists like that, both in acting and in music and in probably a lot of.
The whole music industry is built on money.
But also, I'm talking about the doing it for accolades, like
The whole music industry
yeah,
is built on doing it for the accolades.
Yeah.
I live for the applause.
And
we love that song, Lady Gaga. You just spoke the truth of all the artists in the world.
All the artists, but also a majority of the actors as well. There is some actors that do it for the art, and then there's a lot of actors that do it because they want to be someone
rich and famous. Yeah. And then we have Johnny. He's the son of a bank robber. So he's grown up in a family that is motivated by greed and money as well.
Well, I think
What would
they're
you say
the
about that?
opposite end of the spectrum. So you've
Mm,
got the people who are motivated by money and they do it in the like what we see now through spam and all that kind of stuff,
mm,
and they really get a lot of money legally, right? But they are just motivated by making a cash machine, you
mm,
know, the Rockefellers and all those kind of people. Then you've got the other end who can never see themselves ever reaching that kind of thing. So they turn to crime and robbery and
mm.
illegal
Activities?
activities to make themselves rich, right? And then
Yeah.
they do their like, I want to transition
Mm,
once they've gotten to that rich place. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, and I think that's kind of what his family is like. We'll just do this one last bank rob thing, and we're gonna steal all that money off the ship that comes in, and that's it. That's our last job, and we'll be fine. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. But overall, I guess as well, the majority of the characters in this film start out from a place of like, I guess, doing this competition for the money because they all think it's for the prize of $100,000. So
Yes.
their motivation in the beginning is driven by some of their pure desires.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are like, oh, yeah, like this is an opportunity of a lifetime.
Mm.
But a part of that is mixed in with the desire for this $100,000 prize.
In a way, the $100,000 is the hook. It's like that.
Yeah, the
It's
hook.
like that motivator to get you to jump into your passion.
Yeah.
You're like Johnny probably wouldn't have done it, but he saw 100,000, so he's like, all right, give it a shot.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
Then you got the mouse who will just try it anyway because he's just like, there's the money, I deserve it, so I'm gonna go for it. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but then you have the other ones that didn't do it for the money. Like
Mm.
the pig, she more. I mean, there might have been an inkling of going, wow, that would be nice, $100,000, but it was more doing it to like prove to herself, to prove to others that she is a good singer. Like,
Mm.
do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And same with the elephant. You know, it
Mm.
wasn't anything to do with the money. Even her
No.
family wasn't even projecting about the money. There was just like share
Yeah.
your gift, share your gift, share your gift. You know,
Yeah.
so she was scared to share her gift. You know,
But
so
yeah, the overall though it was like $100,000 singing competition. We are in.
we're
You know what
in.
I mean?
It's that extra jump that
But
some
some of
people
them
need.
definitely did have different needs and motivations for
Hmm.
sure. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically, I guess, block number one, money.
Yes.
In terms of God's whisper, like we have all of these characters with some sort of struggle with them with money in the pursuit of their dreams or goals.
But isn't that also in real life? How many people go, I can't do it because I don't have the finances.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
financially
can't do it
stable enough yet.
because I won't be able to pay my bills. I mean, that was a big thing for me as to why I didn't follow my dreams for like 20 years.
Mm,
You know, I say I started my journey of music in 2012 because that's when I really started applying myself. But I had 10 years prior to that where I was learning music, trying to pursue my dreams, but I was caught up in a lot of my blocks and addictions,
mm,
that prevented me from truly following my passion.
mm,
So, and it was because of this belief that I would not be able to survive if I followed music as a career. So I was always getting distracted with all of this other work that would basically overtake any time I would have to invest in my passions.
mm,
So, and it was this one belief that I wouldn't be able to earn a living doing something that I loved.
mm,
I just had no faith in it whatsoever, you know? So I feel like God, wants us to know in terms of God's truth is that, you know, you don't actually necessarily need a lot of money to follow your passions. You just need to have some faith, but also you do need to be able to just have a little bit to cover your basic needs
mm.
while you work on this transition,
Yeah.
like but in terms of God's truth in regards to the film, like starting out having money as your priority, as your focus, as your driving motivator, you know,
You're
it
already in
is
error.
you're already in error, and it's a block and an addiction that you need to remove,
Yeah.
Um yeah, because as we will find out, in terms of like what happens, um we'll talk about it a bit later, but yeah, like, we learn about what it means to have this pure desire for our passions.
Yeah.
But money is, one of the biggest, I guess, things in this film. This film does a really good job at reflecting to us the emotional injuries of humanity as a whole in regards to money when it comes to the pursuit of our dreams or our passions. Does
Yes.
that make sense? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Like we can see that it reflects basically that a lot of the world is motivated by making money
Mm,
rather than a love for something,
yeah.
a passion for something, and
A desire to
a
just
desire
gift
to
some.
gift, the world their love.
Yeah,
If that makes
exactly.
sense.
Cool. Did you have anything else you want to say about money before we move on? Or like
Mm,
anything to add?
no, not really.
Okay, cool. So block number 2.
Brings us to um, Rosita the pig.
Yeah, so
Um,
women's role in society. So block number 2, women's role in society, the stay-at-home mothers.
yes. So in this film, Rosita has 25 piglets.
Hmm.
She's the mother of 25 piglets. She is the uh, sole runner of the house in a way because her husband is the breadwinner and then
Yes.
she takes care of everything else.
So she kind of represents this traditional woman,
Conservative woman, right?
traditional conservative woman. Yeah.
Right. So she's this conservative woman who's got a gazillion babies,
Mhm.
as they say, because she stays at home.
Yeah.
And so she's got these, like, all these kids. She has all the structure and she gets them all organized. It takes them to school, makes sure that they're all ready to go, and has everything prepared for the husband, knows exactly where everything is in case he loses something. Like,
Yeah.
she's just like the super, super organized, conservative wife that's on top of everything in the
Everything.
household. She knows everything. She is the CEO of the house, right?
Yeah, and she has this typical husband who works all day, comes home tired. He's quite aloof. He just comes home and falls asleep in front of the TV. So
TV.
there's no real connection between them.
No, because, like, and she's compassionate about it because she knows he works so hard because there's so many kids that he has got to provide for. So she's not judging any of that, you know.
Mm.
But she is constantly trying to at least have one discussion with him about something she'd really like to do, and he's always either falling asleep or he's straight away onto his phone in the morning or whatever it was. He's like, "Yes, sweetheart," or this and that. Where's my thing? Like it's all clockwork. He's not really listening.
Mm.
Um, so now we've got this like conservative woman. She's used to having control of the household. Um, she's constantly in her head because she's logical, very intellectual. So there is him that is, well, like you said, aloof and not present. But you also got her who's like, she's not really like present in her emotions. She's more very logical and self-reliant and intellectual
Yeah,
and
yeah.
um
Totally. She's
and
totally disconnected from her like real self,
yes, because
She's very rigid
I
and
think also,
controlling, yeah.
well, because I think also, like, for conservative women, their identity is based on being the housewife. That is my identity. That is who I love to be. Like,
That's my role in society.
and it's a passion of hers. A lot of women, like, they're like, I can't wait to be a mother and I'm going to just
they
Like,
live
that's
for
my
their
purpose.
children.
And they live
They
for
live
your
for their children and their family, and that is really their whole sense of like self-purpose in this
self-purpose.
world.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
actually
But
know women like that. Yeah.
yeah, but even in this movie we're seeing like, but deep, deep, deep down, even though you love being a mum, and I'm sure that like it is such a probably a privilege to be a mother and have that responsibility, and I'm sure that
Mm,
there's also dread to it that they don't talk about,
mm.
but like deep down in their soul there is a passion that's burning inside them that they are not able to express.
Yeah,
Do you
totally.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
totally.
they love, like for her, she loves singing.
Mm.
And it doesn't matter if she sings in the house or this and that. Like, it's like she can't really express herself because no one, I guess in her era, no one gives her the attention she wants for her singing, you know? Like, no one's ever said, oh, you actually have a good voice. Or, you know,
Mm.
like just to hear
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some kind of
There's no
accolade to like,
feedback
no
or
feedback, like something to say, like, I have a talent or I have something there, you know, or,
yeah.
you know, so for her, I guess in a way, there's this like slight motivation to go, oh, I'm good enough, or I
Mm.
can do this, like, you know. Um,
Yeah. Which is and in a way that um she didn't really need it from anyone else. In God's like
yeah, God's truth.
universe,
Yeah,
with God's truth is that you don't need anyone to tell you how great you are to do something. And in her case, it wasn't she didn't actually have anyone do that except God. God was the one that was like, "Here, you have a desire for singing. This is,
here's
what
the
about
opportunity.
this? What
Yeah,
about this opportunity, you know?"
and what a way she discovered it because she's locked in the house. How is
Yeah.
she going to see that paper that's on the floor outside somewhere? Because she basically is trapped in the house because from
Yeah.
beginning to end she's got to clean, cook, clean, cook, clean, cook.
Yeah, yeah,
There's no
yeah.
time.
So she's always stuck in the home.
So
So
here
God
she
had
is.
to literally
I was just gonna say, here she is pouting and sighing as she's washing
the
dishes
dishes at the window,
at the window, and
the
one of the
paper.
posters
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
flying at the window, and she sees a
Yeah.
singing competition, $100,000 opportunity. You
What
know,
a law of attraction. It shows that God is going to find a way to get to you, to speak to you, or to give you some kind of like little prompt or
whisper.
something, whisper. Yeah, like
We get
so.
those whispers constantly, and we don't hear them, see them,
Yeah,
act on them, like
yeah,
because they're so quiet. They're
they
not
are. Yeah,
They're not in your face. I mean,
that one
irony, that was
was.
in her face, but like, then
Sometimes they're not as in your face. It could be, yeah, something so tiny, like that you
like
wouldn't even know. Like that's a
if
whisper from God.
yeah,
Yeah. So.
and then so we won't talk about that transformation. Hey, we'll go to the next thing, and then
Yeah, yeah. So that is yeah, we'll just leave it at that because that's like basically I guess a really big whisper in this film to a lot of women in society that you can have a family, you can have children, but you can also have desires.
a
You
great
know what I
example.
mean?
I just when you said it like that, it just flashed me to.
Yeah.
I just want to quickly say
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
story.
Say it.
Like Kristen
Yeah.
Hawkins. She's an advocate for pro life
Oh yeah.
stuff, and she has two disability children and two
Mhm.
normal children,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And so she's a mother of four,
Mhm.
right? Who created an organization as a pro life advocate, is the owner of that whole organization, has
Mm.
done all the fundraising and everything to make that organization, and then goes around telling people, like sharing truth about, you know, pro life and not to kill babies and a baby is a life and all that kind of stuff in universities and stuff like that.
Mm.
And And the thing that they attack her the most, ironically, is this.
Mm.
They say, you know, you should be pro-choice because mothers, like people who have ambitions to make their passion happen,
Mm-hmm.
like can't do it. They won't be able to make it happen if they have a desire because they fell pregnant too early, you
Mm.
know?
Mm.
And so juggling being a mother and then making your career is going to be impossible,
Gotcha.
right?
Gotcha.
And that's kind of what this person is doing, exactly the opposite to what those pro-choice people are always saying. She
Mm.
has children. Kristen has children, and
Mm.
she goes, "That's a lie.
Mm.
I made a $50 million organization, non-profit, $50 million of getting funding
Mm.
through donations, pure donations,
Mm-hmm.
right? To make my organization. And I have 4 children. My children did not stop me from making my passion happen,
Yeah.
right? And my desire. And I think in our world with women having this role, we are saying you have to choose.
Yeah,
You have to
exactly.
choose your passions or having
Or
a
having
family.
a family. And it's not
And it's not
true.
true.
In God's world, you can have it all. You can have a family, you can have children, and you can have passions and desires. But I think, yeah, like something that I've found, especially in personal like friendships that I've with women that I've had, is that women, it's concerning that they completely sacrifice their whole life for their children.
Mm.
You know, I had a friend who basically got to her 40s and was like, I'm not having a birthday party unless all my children are here. And then just so happened that the years went on. And so she didn't actually go with her desire to have a 40th because her children weren't there. And then the years went on. And so she never actually had a 40th birthday. Got to her 50th, same thing. And then she had all these desires to do other things, but she just lived her life for her children, you know, and yeah, like putting a lot of her own desires and passions on the back burner because of like basically doing everything for her kids,
Mm.
like doing everything to the point of like taking them to extra curricular activities after school, like driving them here, driving them there, doing everything for them instead of like helping them to develop their own self responsibility for their own passions and things like that. So, yeah, that is a big whisper that God wants us to learn, especially it's demonstrated really well in this film that you can have a family, you can have children, but you can also have desires and follow your passions. All right, so let's go on to the next one.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Cool. So toxic relationships is the next big, I guess, block to someone wanting to follow their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem, especially if you have passions and desires and you are in toxic relationships that prevent you from being able to follow your passions. And this is evident in the relationship of the porcupine, who's in a toxic relationship with her boyfriend, and they're in a band duo. And basically, he's quite manipulative. He guilt trips her. He ends up cheating on her as well.
Yep. Puts her down. Doesn't want her to do it if he doesn't get in. It's like they're a team and etc. But he doesn't want her to be writing. He's the writer. He doesn't want her to be singing. He's the singer. Like there's no desire for him to give her a chance to spread her wings. It's all about him. And she's sacrificing her desires for the relationship.
And
And
she's just allowing him to basically do all of that and walk all over her in the sense of she's not loving herself in the relationship and she's not addressing those issues. And she's just kind of like, in a way, letting him dominate her and go along with it.
yep.
And then we have Johnny,
Yep.
who is in a toxic relationship with his father. His father's quite,
Alpha male kind of
yeah, thank you.
stereotype where like He's beating his chest all the time. He's the alpha male that tells the other beta males what to do, and um, is trying to caress and coach his son into becoming
A man, a
a
real man.
man,
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
a
Follow in my footsteps.
exactly kind of like very stereotypical to the toxic masculinity of a lot of mafia and gangs and those kind of like patriarchal systems where, I mean, they are extreme patriarchal systems,
Mm.
where like you will follow in my footsteps. I expect you to follow into my footsteps, and I am grooming you to follow into my footsteps, and you will obey me. The
Pretty
end.
much.
Do you know
Full
what I mean?
stop.
Full stop, and there's no discussion.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so it's very hard for someone like Johnny, who's this soft-hearted kid that loves singing compared to robbing for him. Like what a big difference in terms of
So
masculinity,
yeah, he's more in touch with his creative, artistic side rather than this like macho, like alpha. Um,
facade that we've created in society, let's be
yeah,
honest.
exactly.
Um
So
and he wants to um and he doesn't really bring up the topics and stuff like that because he doesn't want to uh he's so desperate for his dad's love and approval that he doesn't want to tend to that. So
mm,
he even, takes risks in trying to do both at the same time, which we'll see there's consequences to that.
yeah, exactly. And then like we haven't written it there, but in a way, I guess the pig, Rosita, also has a bit of a toxic relationship, I'd say, with her husband. There's no connection there in that sense.
Yeah.
Like,
It's kind of like the mundane working on the grind kind of thing with his work and her being the mother, like
mm,
they've lost their connection and they
mm,
need to reignite the spark of their love again,
exactly.
because of this, like, he's not even doing a 9 to 5. It's probably a lot more hours than that. Like
Yeah,
he's doing
exactly.
that like stereotypical
He's
American style 12-hour days kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. All right. So do you have anything else to add with toxic relationships?
No.
Okay, cool. So, in terms of God's truth, I guess, um, well, like I said, like it's those toxic relationships that we have with whether that's our family, our mum or our dad, or our partner, or
Mm.
somebody in our life that can be a massive block to us actually pursuing our dreams or being able to, take action on them. So,
Mm.
yeah. So I think it's a big like truth that is important. I think God wants us to know and is always trying to share with us, you know, always trying to show to us like these unhealthy relationships. So I think, yeah, like I just love how this movie like brings that into it and really shares, that really well through some of these relationships.
Well, also showing that like it's just, you really can't, like, there is things that you need to work on
Mm.
personally to be able to pursue something professionally. Does it make sense?
100%. Yeah,
And
totally.
so many people are like, I'm not addressing any of my personal issues. I'm just going to make it happen. And by
Yeah,
doing that, you're going to be on the wheel like the koala.
exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. So we have number 4 in terms of another block that often gets in the way, family and societal expectations. So did you want to go into this one?
Yeah, sure. So, um, I guess we start again with Rosita, right? So she is not being heard by her husband, right? So
Mm.
family expectation. She's expected to just be the mother. She's not expected to, share her feelings and her thoughts and her aspirations. That's it. She's just the mother now.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
she's got her
Uh,
role.
yeah. And if she wants to do something and she wants to make something happen, then she must be completely self-reliant. She cannot ask her husband for help. He's already buggered.
Mm.
She must do everything herself. And it's not to say that you need help from someone else, but like if you have 25 kids, even if we just said you had a couple kids, 3, 4, if you want to do something, surely as the mother, you're still allowed to go, hey, to the husband and say, can you look after the kids this afternoon? I'm going to need to go do this. Like,
Mm.
do you know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be like it's solely her role and she needs to make it work, however, and
Mm.
he doesn't have to be responsible for the kids at all.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's only when everything goes wrong that they realize that she's not there,
He
that
has to step up to the
he has to
plate.
step up to the plate,
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's when he finally calls her, like,
That's
so.
so true. Like, yeah. Yeah, because in a way, God, created relationships to be equal in the sense just because you're male, female doesn't mean like that the wife has to look after the kids all the time.
No.
Like
Yeah, she's got
it
more
should be
nurturing in her,
equally.
but that doesn't mean that she must
Yeah,
take care of the children 24/7.
it should be equally shared between the two parents, whether they're
100%.
male, female, 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 male, male. Everyone should be equal share of all kind of duties. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah. So we got that. And then we've got the gorilla expected to follow in his father's footsteps and struggles to voice what he wants in fear of disappointing him. So chasing the approval of his father.
Which we discussed just briefly in the toxic relationship section.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is still a societal expectation for a lot of men to step up and be
like their dad. Yeah, 100%. And then we haven't written it there, but I think like I don't know if this is a societal expectation, but like I think a lot of girls feel like they have to stay with their boyfriends or their partners, even when it's really toxic or really bad. There's this, I don't know if that's a society expectation or conditioning where girls grow up to believe that that's all that they're worth in the sense of, you know what I mean? Because they have no self-worth. So that relationship, even though it might be really toxic and...
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I think it's a more family expectation than a societal expectation, because I think society teaches us that if you're in an abusive relationship, you should leave, But I think family expectation is different. I think they feel forced because like in Greek culture, for example, right? Once you're married, you're married. Like this divorce rate thing, they really like, like my auntie's still technically married to her husband. They don't even live together. Like there is no like divorce in Greek culture. I know, and it's very hard to get it. It's not hard to get a divorce. You can do it now, but
but
there's an expectation they have to stay together no matter what.
Yeah, till death do you part. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
And so I feel like it's more so a family expectation, because her mother doesn't believe in divorce, so therefore she's not allowed to have divorce. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure your grandparents didn't really believe in divorce, so your family would have struggled to everyone had to stay together no matter what,
100%.
no matter how much they got beaten.
Yeah, my mum was in an abusive, marriage, and my nana and granddad always said to her, till death do you part. You have to stay in that marriage, even though you're getting beaten up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's toxic.
So yeah, I think it's a family expectation.
Thing,
yeah.
Probably from religious beliefs and stuff
highly
like that.
likely from religious stuff.
Okay, so is there anything else that you want to add to family and societal expectations?
No, I think
okay,
that's
cool. So we're going to go to number 5, which is another big block to following your passions.
Massive, yep.
Probably one of the biggest, I would say.
Yeah, if not the biggest.
Which is self-worth.
Self-worth.
This aspect of how we feel about ourselves often prevents us from taking that first step, because we have absolutely no self-worth in this world. Like self-worth is, I've heard from Jesus, one of the biggest emotional injuries on the planet. This issue of self-worth. And this comes up a lot in the film, especially with the elephant Meena. I love that character.
Yeah.
She has a lot of people around her that believe in her, but she actually doesn't believe in herself. She feels really inferior. Yet she's this big, she's this big elephant, man.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful animals in the world, strong, big, but she feels completely inferior. So she's shy, she's an introvert, she's quite clumsy, and she has no confidence. And so we see her, basically really struggling to pursue her passion of singing. Yet she has this amazing, beautiful voice. A voice that, one could only dream of, right?
As a singer.
As
Yeah.
a singer, everyone wants to sound like that. So yeah,
And
self-worth.
I love that they chose an elephant for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
Big, strong animal.
yeah, but she's trying not to be seen.
Yeah,
She's
but
the biggest animal.
Yeah.
You cannot hide.
You cannot hide.
She even puts her elephant ears in front of her face.
Oh,
we
yeah.
can't see you now.
Yeah.
You 3-meter huge thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was a very strategic,
But in a way,
cool thing.
yeah, very cool. But in a way, all the characters have self-worth issues. All of them. Johnny has it. Mike has it because he's the opposite end of the spectrum. He's very arrogant. But
Yeah, and deep down,
he's because he doesn't have any self-worth. Rosita has self-worth issues. Buster has self-worth issues. Have I missed any of the characters? Oh, the porcupine.
has self-worth issues for sure.
Ash has self-worth issues as well.
And I think that also represents us in society. We all have self-worth issues, whether we see our celebrities and they're all confident and and we're like, wow, I wish I was that confident. No, it's all fake. It's all fake.
Yeah.
It's something that they've developed so that they can
100%.
how many times people have told me fake it till you make it, and then people will start loving you. It's okay.
But that's the thing, we have such a warped perspective of what self-worth actually looks like in this world. We think self-worth is those famous actors and actresses and musicians and artists that we see that are
yeah.
Look at me, look at me.
I love me. It's do you love you?
Yeah,
you're just saying it. I know you're saying it, or you use affirmations to make yourself believe it. But
I've never heard anyone say I love me, I love me. Who says that?
A lot of people say that they love themselves. They I'm working on myself and I love myself.
I'm really growing to love myself. Maybe, yeah, maybe. Yeah, but so I think we have this really warped. We don't even know what the true meaning of self-worth is really. I don't really feel we know what the true meaning of self-worth is from God's perspective. We might know it intellectually.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've, heard Jesus talk about it many times of what self-worth and love of self looks like. But I don't think any of us have really truly put it into practice, including myself.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that one is a really hard one because it's a lot of things you got to start unblocking to be able to truly.
And it's not just a physical thing that you can do. You
if
can't just go oh, I love myself today.
Yeah.
I'm going to just love myself through doing all these nice things. You can do all these nice things for yourself, but it doesn't mean you truly love yourself.
Yeah, that's self-care, not self-love. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because growing to love yourself is a very emotional process.
Very emotional.
Fully.
And I think also that movie is going to be hard to be able to show the growth of self-worth in one movie, in 10 minutes, but I guess for them, the symbolization of her growing confidence to go in front of the stage and do what she loves is a step in the right direction of self-worth.
100%.
Ironically, she was stepping on the stage when she was doing that, and it was shaking everything. I loved it.
Yeah, it's loving to take action on your desires and It's loving to it's an act of love of self to um allow yourself to be afraid, but to take action anyway. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes,
Even if
yes,
you're so scared, you know?
yes. And I think that was a great step for her in that
Yeah.
part where that's where she grew. Um,
And
did
we've
you did quickly mention the opposite end is the mouse mic.
yeah.
Do you want to like maybe share like what you mean by how is an arrogant person like that actually got self-worth issues?
Well, it depends. Sometimes it can be just the fact that they're really entitled and arrogant, and they love themselves too much. You know what I mean? They're narcissistic.
Yeah.
It's not love of self, but then it can also be stem from, for example, somebody like going a little bit off topic here, like the Joker. I don't
Yes.
want to go too much into it, but like he was treated so badly that he became this raging narcissistic lunatic who's going around murdering people.
Yeah.
So he became the opposite to what he was feeling in terms of low self worth.
Yes.
So
To make him feel
to
powerful
make him feel
and
powerful. So it depends. We didn't really get to know much
the
of
back
Mike's
end of his
story.
yeah.
Sorry, we didn't get to know much of Mike's backstory.
Yeah.
So it could be either one. It could
Yeah.
be that he was treated so badly and bullied because he's little.
Yeah.
He's a little mouse,
Yeah.
Little people have these what they call little man syndromes.
Yeah.
Could have been treated really badly, as growing up, and that made him go the opposite end of I'm going to be this put on this facade of being arrogant and macho.
Yeah.
Or it could be that he was basically spoiled as a child and treated with given everything that he wanted, entitlement and this and that, and now he's
A
just
struggling artist.
doing that,
Yep.
being arrogant and entitled in the world. So
Mhm.
it depends on the
That's great.
backstory.
That's great.
But we have greed as another block that needs to be removed. But obviously, that kind of ties in with money as well. But basically, greed is a problem, a big problem.
Yep.
If we want to follow our passions and we're motivated by greed, motivated by with our intentions for greed, well, it's not going to turn out too well, is it?
Yeah.
Like, basically, you put money first, um, put greed over passions, then you lose the real meaning of why you're doing what you're doing. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So that's
Yeah. You lose the true desire of why you got into your passions for the
in the first
originally.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and then we have number 7, overcoming fears, self doubt. So I guess fear. We've touched on this a little bit. Like fear is a really big block to following our passions.
Fear of failure, fear of not good enough.
Fear of being a nobody,
Yep.
fear of not surviving, going homeless. I mean, all of these come up for me like
Oh
so many
yeah. I
times.
think
Like fear
everyone.
of not being able to eat, pay my bills, pay rent. So many fears.
Yep.
Fear of judgment of the world as well. Like, being in my mid-30s, like following my passion of music, like
They're like,
who's
what are
ever
you doing?
who's ever going to make it at that age bracket,
Yeah.
like, and especially with music and things like that. So, fear of the judgment of others and what other people will like think of you,
Totally.
like fear of ridicule, just all of those things.
Well, and a lot of it comes because you've said something and then people have said stuff to you that then makes you question like yourself in that situation. Like for example, you look at if you say you're 35 and you're now just starting to pursue a singing career
Mm,
or a music career, and they're like, are you crazy? Like at 35, people are starting to retire in music, like not start. Like, do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, you're that, everyone gets in there in their teens or early 20s, and then by their 30s everyone's forgotten about them and moved on to the next 20, 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to those, unless you become the iconic people, the Shurs and the who stay, Madonna, all these people that keep having to adjust themselves to make themselves relevant.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
males don't have to do that. Beatles didn't have to change, they just show up. Like,
yeah. Yeah, but the women have to change their looks, their image
their
every
personas
10
even,
years,
to
every
keep
few
themselves
years
fresh.
to keep themselves fresh for the younger generation. It's so true.
Like Lady Gaga's doing another transition now. Like they're going to keep transitioning now. Like,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
I mean,
um,
some of it is like, I'd say s- some of it can be artistic,
yeah,
can be artistic choices, because artists are like, they're very like,
yeah. But why is it that women are artistically choosing to change? Males just show up. Ed Sheeran hasn't changed. John Lennon legend doesn't
well,
change.
I
Like,
think women potentially have
it's the
more.
insecurity, I think.
Can I say
Yeah,
something?
but tell me.
Like you're putting words in my mouth.
I said I think.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
put it in your mouth.
I know, but like I was about to say something, then you answered.
Okay, sorry.
Like, yeah, I was gonna say like women have more, like are drawn more to fashion and you know,
Yeah, true.
like clothes and stuff like that. So they often like change their look and their tastes and stuff like that
Sure.
as fashion evolves. But a lot of it is addiction. Like it is about maintaining a youthful appearance and maintaining um, popularity, with their audience and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, totally. Um, but
I
yeah, a
guess,
lot in terms of fear.
yeah, I was just gonna say, just bring it back to the movie though.
Mm,
Like, um, Buster fears of being a nobody, right?
yes,
So, you know, it's almost like a Rocky in a way.
Buster Moon.
And um, when everything just falls apart on him,
We're not up to that.
because I'm talking about fear of trying again.
Okay,
Can we say that or not?
maybe try
So
it.
when things fall apart
Yeah.
and another fear comes up where it's all his lost moment and he's fears of trying again, right? What we tend to do in that situation
Mm,
is we've been put down,
mm,
we've given up,
mm-hmm.
and then as a consequence, we then try to drag other people down,
Yeah.
right? So in that circumstance, like the elephant comes to go, let's do it again. We're not doing it for the money now. We're just going to do it for the passion, like,
Mm,
and she brings him a cake and he's like there and he basically goes, when you said that you doubt, you have this little voice in you that, says that you can't do it, you won't be able to make it. Like, really, like, that voice is the truth. That
mm,
voice, like, and so basically, because he's shattered, he's now shattering her dream by reinforcing that little voice in her that keeps putting that doubt in her is to confirm that she really can't make it,
yeah. Yeah.
right? And I thought, like, that's so powerful because we tend to then give up to that voice. We tend
Mm,
to surrender to that voice that is the lie.
mm,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? And it's it's something that holds a lot of people down because they're like, I've tried again and I've tried and I've tried and I've tried. And as a result, like, I'm not going to try anymore.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So yeah, in terms of God's truth in regards to fears, like that's a really big block, and I really feel that we've learned that God really wants us to have some faith in ourselves, faith in God. God wants us to feel our fear, but take action anyway. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And just to take that first step, that first leap into giving something a go, because it's not until we actually take action on the things that we really, really desire, that we then can actually face our fears. Like, often when we take action on the thing that we're afraid of, that helps us to process through our fear
That's right.
and release it. So, actually, by doing the thing that we're afraid of, helps us to overcome those fears and actually face those fears and feel through them. So,
Mm-hmm. And um, Meena is a great example of that. You
mm,
know, she just cannot bring herself to sing in front of someone.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and um, she just doesn't feel like she's going to be good enough. She thinks she's going to freeze. She's got stage fright. She's just can't take the risk. And
Mm,
eventually, that last moment, Buster tells her like it's okay, just focus on the first little thing and then the next thing, and then just listen to the music and you'll forget about the people. And that courage of taking that risk for her,
mm,
right? Like that's how we overcome fear, you
yeah,
know,
exactly.
taking that risk. And she's the best example of when you take that risk, you know, there's deep, deep rewards for
Mm,
you. I'm sure that really helped her to be able to sing again and again after. You know what
mm.
I mean?
Okay. Okay, so we just talked about removing some of the blocks and addictions that these characters had to face in the pursuit of their passion for singing. So let's just quickly summarize each character's block and what they had to do to overcome that.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So the koala, Buster, right? Because he has been chasing his dream very unethically, not taking responsibility for the financial situation that he's in. Even though it looks like he's trying to take financial responsibility,
Mm,
he's still avoiding a lot of the issues he's brought up for others,
mm,
by like not paying them and by not paying his bills and not talking to the bank about his financial situation, etc., etc. And so he really needs to learn to let go of all of that kind of expectation. And he can only let go of it truly when he loses it all,
mm,
right? And once he's lost everything, that's when the true growth can come, where he can start again and go, okay, I got to do this. I got to do it. I got to go back to the roots of why I wanted to do this. I wanted to do it for the passion. So we're not doing it for money. We're doing it for passion. Are you
mm,
guys going to join me with this? Yes
mm,
or no? We're not going to do it for finances. We're going to do it for passions. We're not going to um we're not going to make it grand. We don't have anything left.
mm,
We're just going to put on a show the best we can with what we've got.
mm.
Okay. And I just need everyone to just like give their heart and soul to this performance.
Yeah, and he specifically said as well, like, and there's no money.
There's no
You have to
money.
do it because you want to do it because
That's
you
right.
love it.
That's right.
Mm,
And I think um, that's him taking responsibility of where he is at financially,
mm,
acknowledging the truth. I
mm.
have nothing. I have
Yep.
nothing to give you, but if you'd like to give this gift to people, then join me.
You're welcome to join. Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
So it made him very humble. Back to his humble beginnings that his dad did, which was
Mm,
car washing, you
mm,
know? Um, and then you've got the mother who's very intellectual, doesn't know how to ask for help, doesn't have a partner that she feels she can reach out to,
mm-hmm.
etc.
This is Rosita.
Rosita. But also, ironically, because she's so intellectual, she's, is trying to perform through her intellect. And so she gets paired up. We haven't talked about this, but she got paired up with a guy who's
Gunter.
Gunter,
The
who's
German.
the
Oh,
and
yes.
and he is just completely the opposite to her in the sense that he's just emotion.
Yeah, he's
He's
all heart and
just heart
soul.
and soul and feeling.
He's like a kid, eh?
Yeah, it's like
He doesn't
it's
he's
not about
unfiltered.
the steps, it's about the feeling, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, so she's there and she's trying to learn all the steps, right?
Yeah.
But it's not until when she's like tired, you run down, you're not thinking anymore
Mm.
and you're just in like motions. And it's there where she's collecting all the stuff that she needs for her kids at the shopping center,
Yeah.
grocery store, when she's just like hearing the music and it's just like, oh, this is what it is to engage your soul. Like, da, 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 and then suddenly she's like dancing,
Mm.
just going step by step and just letting the body move and take her,
Yeah, she's like
out of
basically
her head
out of her head
and
and
into
into
her
her like
soul and
feelings.
heart.
Mhm.
And then even the guy watching is like, the lady in aisle 9, that was amazing, or whatever he said, and she's like, oh, I know how to activate this now. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wanted to mention that because that's her growth.
Yeah, yeah.
Her growth is getting out of her head, being able to feel again,
Yeah.
and like by the end she's gonna go to this thing whether the kids are gonna be there or not. Like,
Yeah.
the husband has to take care of the kids,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they surprise her by being there,
Mm.
and then it reconnects the husband because for once he's seeing her again.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you know what I mean? So,
Seeing her,
and going,
literally.
oh,
You
like,
exist.
I remember you, like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
where
totally.
have I been all that time? I'm so sorry, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so it gives her a chance to reconnect her passions for her own love of music, reignites the passion of her love with her and her husband,
Mm.
right? Um, and reconnects her to her soul. So,
Yeah.
like, she had a lot of reconnecting to do with, like,
Yeah.
to heal,
A
and I
lot of
thought that was really
reconnecting with
cool.
everything.
With
Yeah.
herself.
Yeah, totally.
Toxic relationships with Ash and her boyfriend. Do you want to talk about that one?
No, I want you to do these.
Oh,
These are
okay.
good because,
And then
like, yeah.
you got the toxic relationship with the porcupine Ash,
Yeah.
who has pandered and pandered and pandered and pandered to her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Listen to all his negativity. I can't sing. I'm not allowed to.
Yeah.
Write my own songs. Like, she's
Yeah.
even writing a song going, you can take the lead of it. I just want to like
Yeah.
have a go. Like,
Yeah. I want to do an
no,
original.
you're not like that. You're not. I'm the one. I'm
I'm
the
the
lead. I'm the
songwriter.
this. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and like for her to grow, she actually like the cheating had to happen for her to actually wake up.
Yeah.
Right. So that really hurt her, woke her up, but also allowed her to use music as an avenue to
Process some emotions.
process her emotions and
Yeah.
let her cry and let her bring up the pain that she's feeling from him cheating on her and belittling her and not letting her have a go.
Yeah.
And that actually morphs her into this amazing solo artist.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
She could sing, she can
just,
write,
like,
she can play
literally
guitar.
transforms
Literally
into a
transforms. Yeah.
like, butterfly. She
Butterfly.
grows her wings.
Exactly.
Because he was, in a way, clipping her wings.
Exactly.
Stopping her
Every
from
time
growing.
she was like, I don't know if anyone's ever owned a chicken, but like after a little time, you got to clip the chicken's wings,
Yeah.
right? So that they can stop flying because they
Oh.
constantly like will fly over the neighbor's house or,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
and so
yeah.
you give it like a haircut and you
Yeah.
just trim its, it doesn't hurt them,
I
right?
know. I know
But-
it doesn't.
But it's like, that was what he was constantly doing to her,
Yeah.
except he was clipping it to the point of pain for her, and so when she realized that he's the one that's stunting her and she finally lets go of him, she's allowed to fly,
100%.
So I love
Yeah.
that. Family expectations and society expectations. We talked a little bit about that with the mum, the pig and Rosita, like,
Yeah.
letting go of that responsibility constantly to herself and sharing it with her husband, with the kids. Then we've got Johnny, who finally faces his father and says, this is what I want to do. This is what I love doing. Like, I'll get you the money. Like,
Well,
I
he
can't remember
actually
how he
had to
said.
learn the lesson of um not well, when we were first introduced to Johnny, did it he had to basically kind of like feel the pain of displeasing his father because he was so into always pleasing his father that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he was given a job to make sure that he was there when his father and the gang came out from robbing the bank, but he decided to quickly go to his audition and try and make it back, but he didn't make it back. So, as a result of that, his father went to jail.
Exactly. So I was just gonna
Yeah.
say. So basically, yeah, you're right. So he had the new role, which was thrown at him because he didn't really expect to have this role,
Mm.
but he was going to be the drive away um, man. Is that called a drive away man? Like
The driver? I don't designated driver.
yeah, who drive like yeah. I think he's called the drive away man or something.
It's
Anyway,
not the drive away man. It's just the driver.
anyway,
I
he's
don't know.
the
Maybe there is a name.
getaway man.
The
Oh, I don't know.
getaway driver.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
What?
Anyway,
It
whatever
doesn't
it
matter.
is,
He was just the
he was
driver.
a driver to pick them up
Basically,
and drive off.
yeah. After
Right
they'd robbed a bank.
after they robbed the
Yeah.
bank. He had exactly 30 minutes, so he was waiting there. He thought he got enough time to go drive back, do his performance, come back. But by the time he comes back, he gets stuck in traffic. He was never going to make it,
Exactly.
right? But if he was just honest at the beginning and say, Dad, I can't be that driver. I've got this on.
Mm. Yeah.
Give it to the guy who's always the driver.
Yeah. He didn't want to do that because he didn't want to displease his dad.
Exactly.
He's
And so
trying to
by
get that
trying
approval.
to chase that approval still, he ended up in a conundrum of being stuck in two.
Yeah.
And by being stuck in two, you lose one. And he lost his
Exactly.
dad in a way.
He lost his dad.
Right?
Because his dad
Puts
went
him
to
in jail. His
Yeah.
dad then is disappointed. Like, more than if he was like, his dad would have been disappointed before, but now his dad is
Extra
devastated.
disappointed because he's like, man,
You put me in
you
jail.
put me in jail.
Which he
is
didn't.
unloving.
Unloving, because he's
Yeah.
putting that expectation on his kid when
Yeah.
he's the one that's doing the unloving thing by stealing. But anyway, and in doing so, he kind of now has hit his lowest point, which is I put my dad in jail.
Mm.
It's my fault. I'm a bad kid. He's getting through all those feelings of
Yeah.
what kids feel when parents basically say they're disappointed in you.
Yeah.
And it's that
just projected their blame onto the kid.
That's right. And
so the kid is blaming themselves now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And but that doesn't deter Johnny from doing it. And the thing is, he was always going to do it for the money. I got the 100,000. I'll pay you out.
Yeah.
But when there was no money there, you know, he eventually still does the music, the performance.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I think that was his transformation, because that also enlightened the father to see that, hold on, my son's on TV and he's singing amazingly, and I'm not there because of my own arrogance and my own selfishness.
Yeah.
You know?
So I guess in a way, Johnny had to learn to stand up for what he wanted for himself to his father.
Yeah.
Had to learn to not pander to what his father wanted for him.
But also not to live in the fear, of I can't let him down.
Yeah.
Because once you've let them down and you can get over that bump, like, it opens a lot of you to be able to be okay with it, but it takes time.
Yeah.
Obviously,
so he had to
from a certain
overcome
time.
his fear of letting his father down and just do it anyway.
Yep. And then he's got nothing to lose now. He's like, I've already let him down. I might as well do it now anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing I can do.
Okay, and so that's 4 of the characters and then
Yep.
we have Mike. He has no character arc, let's just say. Mike remains arrogant to the end and doesn't really have a character arc.
And I think there is a whisper there.
Mm.
He drives off thinking that they got rid of the bear because they curve, and then but
Yeah.
then the bear sneaks over the thing, so it shows that he's still
Yeah.
holding onto that car even though they've driven off and they think
Mm.
that bear's gone.
Mm.
So I think there's a little slight whisper there going, we know that he's
What his fate is.
what his fate is. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Yep.
And of course, like as in real life, if you don't change your ways,
There's
you
a
will
downfall.
meet your fate. You know, there's a downfall, and that's always in movies. If the character doesn't change, there's always
The
going to be a
consequence.
tragedy.
Yeah.
Or there's a consequence.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how tragedies happen. The arc never changes, never changes, never changes, and then
Yeah.
they die in some way.
And then we have the final character, which is Meena the elephant.
Mm-hmm.
You want to share what her character arc was?
Yes, Meena's
Meena.
Meena's um her arc is she's this extremely shy introvert, feels inferior kind of I was going to say person, but she's an elephant.
She's just so afraid. Let's
She's
just
just
say she's just
completely
so afraid
fearful
of performing in front of people.
Yep. And then eventually, like through her courage of taking risks, her encouragement from Buster allows her to, take that risk, go on stage, not freeze, to listen to the music and let it out. And she ends up performing far more superior than anyone else there.
Yeah. So
And-
basically, she just had to overcome her fear of
That's right.
performing in front of people and to let out this big gift with the world.
Yeah.
So cool. Okay, so anything else you want to say on that before we move on? Because we really got to start to wrap things up.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
I guess just with Ash quickly as well, she also had to learn not to sacrifice herself. I think the word sacrifice herself is a key.
Oh yeah, in terms of her character arc, we're going back to the porcupine.
Mhm.
Yeah. She had to learn not to sacrifice herself and her desires for somebody else. Yeah, for sure. Cool. Anything else you want to mention?
That's it.
All right. So we are up to really our final main whisper of the film, which is addictions versus pure desires. So we learn a lot about God's truth in this film in regards to addictions with your passions versus pure desires with your passions. So I'll just quickly go through some of those,
go
if that's
for it.
okay. So some of the addictions that we can learn from this film in terms of our passions include avoiding responsibility, obviously with Buster Moon, and everything that is built on a lie eventually is revealed and destroyed. So basically,
The $100,000
the
promise.
$100,000 promise, he didn't come clean about the truth that he only actually had $1,000. And even then, he was still trying to find that $1,000, I think.
He put a watch and
he just put
it all together.
So he built this competition of a lie from the beginning. And that is really, so true in God's world, that when you build everything on addiction and a lie, eventually the truth is revealed and everything is destroyed, which happened because he created this big fancy show with an underwater stage with this is one of the things that you were gonna say before.
The squids and performing squids that would glow, so he could make this spectacular thing because he said to the rich lady played by Jennifer Hudson, she basically she said that she'll give him the money to make everything happen if he can prove that it's going to be magical again like it was in the years that she was
Yeah,
performing. And so he tried to make it spectacular, and
and it
he got
was.
and it looked amazing. I
It
was like
looks so
ready
epic,
for
eh?
it.
Yeah,
Anyway, and so like he had these glass panels down the bottom. He got everyone to help him make this amazing
yeah,
like water um backdrop and
yeah.
floor, and then everything fell to shits really.
Fell to
Like,
shit, and the whole thing, the water's pipe busted, and the whole
well,
basically
it was because the arrogant mouse, with his greed of money, then like got the bear to come in asking for his money after cheating at the poker, and then
mm,
he grabs the mouse, and the mouse goes, the money's in the thing, and then they smash that, and that's how they smash the floor and the glass and
yeah.
everything. So it was
Okay.
also the law of attraction of like, isn't it interesting that the greed of the mouse is also
Yeah. The
the
cause,
cause of
the thing falling to shit, well, one of the, effects of it, yeah. Yeah, because, like, if basically in a nutshell, the theater explodes, the whole theater is destroyed. Like,
almost
literally,
drowned
it's
the like
just
famous
rubble
lady.
left, like, it's just, yeah, completely destroyed. So that is, I think a really good point this movie makes, that you build things on a lie, and this is God's truth. You build things on a lie, like, it's going to be eventually destroyed. And I've heard Jesus talk about how God's laws are always working to destroy
The lie.
the lie, the
Yeah.
addiction. Um, so all addictions are destroyed. Everyone was in it for the money, which was their addiction. Um, Another addiction was the greed, obviously. And then you've got the like the selfishness, the selfishness driving a lot of the characters. They're out for themselves. It was all about competition, you know. So these were some of just a few of the addictions that were like, basically like brought up in this film. And then you've got um, the visionary maverick, greatest showman, like the big, this big entertainment facade of like be the best, have the best, everything's got to be big and grand and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
So they were some of the addictions that I came across in terms of, um, in terms of what the characters had to go through to work through some of this to get to some of their pure desires, which um, were some of the key, like, I guess, whispers and themes in the film as well, in terms of the character arc and I guess some of the redemption, um, redemption themes of like how the characters, the lessons that they learned. So some of those pure desires were dream big dreams. Yes, like God wants us to dream big dreams, God wants us to find purpose in life. And these were some of the things that were said, like in the film.
Yeah.
Don't let fear stop you from doing the thing you love. Getting to a point where they're just singing for themselves. There's no competition, no money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that things don't need to be perfect, grand, or elaborate to do your passion, because it's all about your heart and soul. And that you don't need fancy stages. You just need to sing from your heart, and people will be drawn to you, which is what happened in the film. Like
Totally.
they had this big elaborate thing that they were creating, but when that got destroyed, at the end they had nothing but just a stage and their heart and their soul. And they then ended up getting pretty much like filling the whole room with people just from that
Well,
desire,
and it was all from word of mouth, really.
word of
Like
mouth. Yeah.
everyone, the camera was there for the humiliation. It wasn't there to,
Yeah.
and it was actually not humiliating. It was actually drawing people going, I need to go down there. That looks epic. I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but just quickly, when you're saying that, what flashed into my mind was um when Buster was car washing, and that moment when he's hearing, because you're just talking
Yeah.
about how if you sing from your heart, then people will be drawn.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he was car washing, and he was just devastated that he's got to do this whole thing again, and he thinks it's going to take another 30 years to collect the money to
Yeah.
make his dream come like true again. And um and then he can hear something, and he sound like he can hear someone singing from a distance, and he can't, and he's following the sound, and he sees it's the elephant singing her heart on
Yeah.
the rubble up high somewhere and on the hill or whatever it was. And he's like, it's reignited his spark of why he loved what he loved again, you know?
Mm.
And it's also like, whoa, we've never got to hear you sing, and you sound
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. You need to be on stage for this.
Yeah.
Like, so for me as well, like, her passion of just singing by herself,
Yeah. For herself.
for herself, freely, and just being expressive,
Yeah. Drew.
pulled someone to just go, I'm gonna make something happen again.
Because he was adamant that he's like, I'm just gonna be washing the cars until I can get the money again. Um,
Yeah.
but it was her singing that pulled him back into this pure desire of like, what am I doing? Let's just do this. Like, we
Yeah.
don't need to have a fancy stage and this and that. Like, let's
Yeah.
just go for it. Yeah, that was a beautiful moment.
That was a great moment.
And then the you know, there's a really big message in this film that I think, like, for me, sticks out, which is like following your passion should be about community and about giving gifts and belonging. You know what I mean? It's not about this competition, and which is pretty much what, like, we see in the world. Like, a lot of people, especially in the music industry, the pursuit of their goals and their passions becomes this very, like, um selfish pursuit, all about me, me, me. But I think, like, one of the big messages of this film is just really about community and sharing and giving gifts
Mm,
to each other. And so I think there's some of the pure desires that we can really learn from, like, in this
totally.
film, like that what this film is teaching us. Look, it can really teach us, if you do all these things, these addictions, it's not going to end up well.
No,
You
it's
got
just
to
gonna slow you down.
It's gonna, like, hinder you, it's gonna limit you, it's gonna, like, be a disaster, you know? But these things here, these things these pure desires that you have, that's what should be motivating you. You know what
Mm,
I mean? Not these things. If you allow your addictions to motivate you, that's gonna end in tragedy, disaster. Like, you're never gonna get anywhere. But if you are motivated by some of your pure desires, by more of your pure desires, then you're gonna have more loving outcomes. Everyone benefits. Everyone, um, like everyone can have more joy, happiness, and fulfillment.
mm.
More purpose.
Totally.
So, yeah, um,
I was just gonna say,
did you wanna
like,
say?
yeah, because like I feel like doing the community and belonging um uh approach, um it works so much more because it's now not about making it, it's about sharing something.
Yeah.
and
It's
and
now not about, like,
and so many people just,
winning.
yeah, we lose perspective because we want to make our dream come true,
Mm,
but we also feel like we need to make it for our dreams to come true, so then that we have the money to continue to do what we want to do, you
mm,
know? And so making it is the only solution in our brain. But
mm.
we don't see that it's not about making it. As long as you're making something that is of worth, of importance, of with great messages, and
Something that is of a
something that
benefit to others.
it can benefit others and share something important, like, and you want to do it out of like love, then things will happen. Now, no, it happened first go or second
No,
go. Like Tyler
that's
Perry took 7 years.
so good, and that's another, like, big whisper from God in this film is, like, just do your passion because you want to do it, because you love it, not because you want something from it, and everything else will be added to you. You do your passion from that place in your heart. Don't worry, I'll take care of the rest. You're
Mm,
going to find people who's going to support you. But
mm,
you need to let go of that expectation that they will. You have to really like engage your passion from this pure place of expecting nothing, and it's only then that you can attract
Yep.
what you need, to keep fulfilling your purpose and
Totally.
keep engaging your passion and what you want in life. So, yeah.
Yep.
But look, we've gone on for so long. We kind of do need to wrap it
Let's
up.
wrap it up now.
So, I guess like I wanted to ask you, out of all the characters, who did you relate to the most, and what did you learn for you specifically?
I think I related to different characters for different reasons, but my core one I would say would be um, Meena,
Mm,
because of my self worth issues and my complete doubts to the point where, like, although slightly different, I didn't get the encouragement from my family and stuff like she did, all from people around her.
mm,
For me, it was the opposite, discouragement,
mm,
discouragement, to the point where I ended up still with the same result, like
mm,
complete fear to go back on stage again
mm,
and share my talent, you know? Um, and so that was inspiring to me in that sense, because, like, for me, uh, not only is she talented, but um, she's teaching me to have the courage to take a risk again. It's like the whole Steve Harvey jump thing, like, just jump. You're going to be okay. Like, you're going to fail, but you're going to succeed if you just take that risk. And I thought that
mm,
was the key one that I really related to. But I also related to Johnny in the sense that chasing my dad's love and approval,
mm,
like, ultimately has hindered me a lot. So it's like that
mm,
toxic relationship of, like, the porcupine, but like with my dad,
mm,
where, like, the more I tried to please him, the more I tried to chase for his approval, the more I chased his love, the more I became smaller, stunted, couldn't really, like, take that leap, and the louder the voices of doubt appeared. Do you know what I
mm,
mean? So those two were big ones for me, I felt.
mm. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Yourself, Bob?
Um, I think like I didn't relate to any specific one character in
Yeah,
particular,
I thought so.
but I related to the overall desire of all of the characters to pursue their passion of music,
Yep.
because like it's something that I've been trying to do, for over 20 years.
Mhm.
And like I said, for the first 10 years, I was learning music, but I was caught up in addictive relationships. I was caught up in my addictions, with substance abuse. Oh my
Checking.
gosh. Yeah, so and I had no self-worth, I had a family who didn't support me, um, or didn't even encourage dreams at all, let alone music as a career. Like, it's just my family was all about just get a job and, you know, pay your bills, that sort of a thing. So I grew up with a lot of low self-worth, conditioning that you could not make a living from your dreams, that if you were to follow your dreams, it would mean like bad things in life in general.
Mm.
So I just love the overall like journey of the characters to pursue their passion of music, because I could relate to it so much in the
Mm.
sense of my own journey and pursuing music as a career, and how hard that's been for me to work through limiting beliefs, to overcome my addictions to substances,
Mm.
to overcome my family and societal conditionings and
Mm.
expectations on me and what I should be doing with my life. And
Mm.
I just related to, in a way, like you say, the all characters, a little bit from each character,
Yep.
in
Yep.
terms of like, having a toxic father as well who just put me down all my life,
Mm.
especially when I was in my teenage years. Like, um, my mum's like projections onto me that I should just get married and have children and
Mm.
just get a job, a stable job. And, be like Rosita, you know what I mean? And like, I was a
And be
person,
happy.
yeah, and I was a person who had toxic relationships myself, and I was toxic in my partner relationships, and they were toxic to me. And,
Mm.
so I had to work through a lot to remove addictions and
Mm.
blocks just to be able to start
Start.
again,
Mm.
and that happened in 2012 when I made the decision to get sober and stop
Yeah.
partying so much.
Yeah.
And there I started practicing singing every day again. And like I say, I started to slowly go out and gig again. And then I'd get invited to, do other gigs.
Mm.
And then I got invited to go back and teach at my school. And then I had to get a job over here in Sydney. Just like things
Yeah.
started to happen, So I
Yeah.
just relate to, and I relate to the story so much because like in a big way in regards to the addictions and the blocks, because
Yeah.
in order to stay getting on the path was hard enough, but to stay on it, like
It's another level.
it's even more purifying your desires because even though I'd gotten rid of my addictions when I first started out, I still had a whole heap of other addictions that I then had to work through once I was on the path of
Mm.
wanting approval and glory, being in competition, wanting to be the best, wanting to get attention from doing what I loved,
Mm.
So I was so I still had to go through a refinement process as well. And it's
Mm.
still happening today.
Yeah.
I still am always getting feedback from God and the laws of attraction about where I'm at in my desires with my passions.
Yeah.
And there's always a constant feedback to me,
Yep.
letting me know when I'm out of harmony with love, when I'm in harmony. And it's a constant
Mm.
refining of these desires and these passions to purify them and bring them into more harmony with God's love.
Mm.
And I'm still so far away from it, but
Mm.
like it's an ongoing process. So I just relate overall,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the whole story.
And
And that's why I loved it so much. I was like, I love this story. It's just so
wholesome, isn't it?
wholesome. Yeah.
It's like everything you said, like I think 99% of us can relate to,
Yeah.
like everything you said is bang, like a lot of that is related to me too,
Mm.
like I wanted to be the best actor, I wanted to be the best
Mm.
this, and I needed approval and I needed to know that I was good, like,
Yeah.
and if they said I wasn't good, then it's just another dagger to me giving up, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It wasn't a, you know, prove them wrong. It gets to a point where it turns from proving them wrong to maybe they're right, another one, and then it's like, oh, like I
Mm.
need to let it go. And then that brings back Buster. I need to let it go, So
Mm.
I get what you're saying. Like everything is like it's kind of like you relate to all the characters in some way, whether it's like
Mm.
you want to be the best, so have some arrogance, or you want to
Which is a whole facade, but yeah.
which is a whole facade,
Yeah.
or you go to the hustling, and never giving up kind of mentality to the point where you're like, I should just give up now. I've tried so hard.
Well, and also like you can be the best and you can make so many cool chords and melodies as I've discovered, but that doesn't necessarily mean you are going to um attract success because it's not based on how good you are. It's based on how pure your desires are, you know?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
But also, like a lot of people that are successful have gotten successful in a very impure way.
That's my point.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly what I'm saying. Like just because someone is successful doesn't mean they got there through pure desires. You know what I mean?
Mm.
A lot of people who become successful in the music industry have gotten there through doing a lot of unethical and immoral um things, sacrifices, compromises of values, morals, ethics, those sorts of things. And um
Looking the other way
yeah, 100%.
when
Through
things
a
are
lot of
happening.
facade and addiction, you can, like I said, your desires are powerful, whether they're in harmony or out of harmony with love. Like you
Mm.
can still create what looks like success through a lot of desires that are out of harmony with love.
Totally.
But if you want to get to where you're going God's way, well, you're going to have to refine and purify your soul to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get there through your addictions with
Mm.
God. Like,
Yep.
if you want to do it God's way, if you want to do it the world's way, you can get there through a lot of addictions. In fact, you could probably get there easier through a lot of addictions because
Yeah.
the world supports you in your addictions,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
world doesn't support you in doing it God's way.
No.
You know what I mean? So,
That's a fair
okay.
point.
I just also wanted to mention as well because
Your two mystery
yeah.
whispers. Tell me, tell me. I'm dying to hear
Well,
'em.
I love the moment when the all is lost moment when Buster is at his friend's house at the pool, and he's in the pool house, right?
Mhm.
And he's like, oh, I've given up. I'm just gonna lay here, and he's in darkness.
Yeah.
And then I love it when the door opens
Yeah.
and everyone's there to try and encourage him. And he's like, oh, what? No, guys, it's all over now. And as the door opens, though, the light's on him,
Yeah.
right? It's a little bit of light, just
Yeah.
that ray of light coming through. And he's like, basically rejecting that, right? He's
Yeah.
rejecting, God's messengers,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
try and get him out of the hole.
I love it. Yep.
And so the light kind of shines on him, and they're like, so they all give up and they leave. And then the door opens again, and the light is even brighter on him this
Yeah.
time. And it's Meena, trying to
Yeah.
get him to, like, you know, um, bring him out of his hole, right?
Yep.
And I just love that metaphor of, like, for me, in my opinion, the metaphor of, like, in your darkest moment, God is always there trying to, like, shine
Shed
a
some
little
light.
light,
Oh, I love
you
it,
know,
babe. Yes.
shine a little light to, like, say there's hope, like there's
Yeah.
faith here, like
Yeah.
there's a little bit of light here for you to, like,
Yep. Yep.
so God is always trying to reach everyone in their darkest moment.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was really beautiful, and I love the incorporation of the song that attracts Buster to Meena at the end, which is the Hallelujah song.
Oh, that's right. I
Yeah,
couldn't
so
remember what song it
again,
was.
like, God is everywhere, like, in the sense of, like, even through music, God is trying to draw us to God. You know what I mean?
Oh,
To
baby.
God
Yep.
and
That's
to,
good.
like, redemption and, like, faith, and, like, there's a way forward,
Yep. Yep.
So even in the music choice that these filmmakers chose, this song that is very much connected and related to God,
Yep. It's almost a prayer.
it's almost a prayer, yeah,
So
like,
she prayed and then Buster came.
yeah, and so that's a really big whisper, like, we can put our heart and soul into our desires, which are prayers to God through music, through song, and you know what I mean? That
Yep.
can change, like, our law of attraction. It can
Yeah.
change because she was finally, like, was gonna do this with Buster and tried to come and encourage him to get back up and
Yeah.
go again, and then, like, yeah, so she didn't let that stop her. She was like, "Well, I'm gonna go and sing anyway." And she went to the
Yeah.
location where everything was destroyed, started singing, and that changed everything.
Changed
So
everything.
her courage actually changed
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 the
that
whole
whole
thing.
thing.
Mm.
Like, it was her having the courage to just go and sing for herself there that, like, changed the whole trajectory of that film.
Oh, babe.
So yeah.
Hmm. Well, my God's whisper was that part, that moment.
Yeah.
My mystery um, whisper was the thing that inspired me the most, which was to have courage
Mm.
and to take a risk and take that leap of faith of your dreams, even though your fear, even through your fears and doubts, like,
Mm.
and in that moment, she doesn't try to prove to others,
No.
she's there for herself,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and the message of just be you
Mm.
and do what you love, put your heart in it with no expectations other than doing your best, and you attract the right people. And I thought, like, that was
Yeah.
my whisper that I loved in that movie, and like you articulated it so well,
Mm.
because I can only go with what that moment made me feel.
Yeah.
I couldn't articulate the why, and I think you
Mm.
landed the why so perfectly.
Yeah.
You know.
And another whisper that we, I think, missed as well, especially in Johnny's case, the gorilla, just to add to this really quickly. But in the end, it was him following his passions and desires that actually changed his dad and brought his dad closer to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Helped his dad to really see
Wake up.
him
Yeah.
wake up. So that's a good lesson for anyone out there who's chasing their parents' approval to actually go, I'm going to do what I want to do and see how your relationship will either change for the better or it, dissolves it. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
then you know that your parents didn't really love
love
you.
you. But if you do what you desire and it changes your parents, well, you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
that is a way to
Engage it.
engage it for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
So don't be afraid to go after what you want in life. Oh yeah, so shall we do the key lessons to
Yes,
finish
go
up?
for it.
Okay,
Finish it
cool.
off, babe.
Because I was just gonna say, like, don't be afraid to pursue what you want in life, pursuing our dreams, even when there's so many obstacles, whether that's family, relationships, self doubt, society's judgments, finances, money, and more. So there's did I mention? Oh, I did mention this was the key life lessons from the film, right? Key
Yes.
whispers.
Yes.
So
And
just so they understand, just because I can be fast and unclear sometimes, we're going to finish up with the key life whispers in this film that we can take away, right?
mhm.
Okay, so number one is pursuing our dreams, even when there's so many obstacles, whether that's family, relationships, self doubt, society's judgments, finances, money, and more. So we can learn from this film that just pursue your dreams and see what happens.
Yes. And the next point, because you don't know what it is, because of what you just said there,
Yeah.
it triggered me to think of a great quote
From Tyler Perry.
from Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
Because
Tell me this great quote.
that pursuit, we always go, I dream of this or I want to do this, and people say negative things. They go, you can't do it. You're not good enough, or like, you're a nobody. How are you going to get that high? That's ridiculous, And Tyler Perry said, like, people can say that, but people don't know what God has written in your heart. So let me repeat that. People don't know what God has written in your heart.
Yeah.
They are not you.
Yeah.
They will not feel what you feel from God.
Yeah.
Okay. God specifically put a specific, unique gift in your soul.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that you desire to bring to the world. And people can be negative about it and etc. But it's written in your heart because God put it there. His quote, God, no one knows what God has written in your heart, I think is poignant for this.
Poignant. Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
no one can
Only
say it better
you
than that.
know. Yeah. So it's between you and God, your
It's
journey.
between you and God.
It's not between you and the world or anyone else. It's between you and God. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think he actually said that too.
Oh,
But yeah.
yeah, cool. All right. So following your passions is not about competition. I think this is a big key takeaway from this film.
Mhm.
And then the final one, which is the biggest message of all, and the point that we wanted to make, which is it's never too late to follow your dreams or your passions. You are never too old, and it's never too late to follow your dreams or your passions. That no matter what age you are, 30 and above,
40,
young,
50,
doesn't matter like how old you are, it's never too late to follow that dream or desire or purpose you've always wanted to do.
Mhm.
And I just want to emphasize that because I know it's something I struggled with for so long, and I know like a lot of people feel, like I say, when they get to a certain age, that it's too late, but it's never too late.
Yeah.
And it comes down to is a desire.
Yep.
A desire, taking action and feeling your emotions as you take that action,
Yep. Totally.
And God is going to bring you opportunities through the law of attraction to help you to continue to develop that purpose, develop that gift. So, yeah, I just think like this film is beautifully done and it's funny. It's a joy to watch. It has so many amazing lessons in it, and yeah, I loved it.
I loved it too. I always get inspired by ones, especially when it's about passions,
Yeah, same.
because I think it's so hard in such a world that people just constantly putting you down for chasing a dream and
Mm,
want you to live in reality by getting a job and making success by
mm,
having a stable job, which
mm.
Jim Carrey has told us time and time again that there is
Yeah,
no such thing as a stable job.
exactly. Thank you for tuning in to God's Whispers in Film podcast. We hope today's episode inspired you. If you'd like to support the podcast and help us to keep creating meaningful content, visit our Patreon page. Your support makes a big difference and will help us to continue to bring you more episodes. Until then, may God's Whispers continue to inspire you in your life.